all that is. It's brown, got all them seashells. You can't hardly even find a handful of seashells down here. That's funny.
What about that? Well, and really, even on the East Coast, you don't find nice big shells at all. They're all crunched up, you know.
Crunched up, sharp on your feet. You don't have that over here. You can just walk right out there. It's just the water's so much clearer and the sand's white and cool. It's so much better.
What about that? That sounds a lot like the Caribbean, doesn't it?
Yeah, you'll have to get Clyde.
Okay, I can see myself. That doesn't look good. Can you all see me?
Hello, Kimberly.
All right, now I can see Cindy. I can see other people now, so, okay. I'm not a Google person. I play on GoToWebinar all day. Okay, so I see Steven's phone number and Carseal's phone number. What about Keith?
Keith is on my cell phone.
Oh, I see.
He's with us.
Okay, and did Todd make it in? That's Todd, right? Okay,
Yes.
I see it. All right, then that's everybody that we need, right, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Everybody's here.
All right. Then can you call the meeting to order, please?
Yes. Burchett,
Here.
Mulberry,
Here.
Gibson, here. Fielders, here. Crowley,
Here.
all members present.
Thank you, sir. We have need of a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so motion by Carseal, second by Todd to approve the agenda. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. We have nothing under the operations section, so we will move directly to the discussion and action items. First one is create and approve the job description for the CHS athletic director. And I believe we had an updated one sent earlier today that I'm going to pull up.
That's correct. I've received a couple suggestions and additions from board members, and I added those into the job, or the duties responsibilities rather. And that's the most recent version that you all have.
Are there any other questions or comments?
None, but did we get an update today? I didn't get that.
I
Yes.
sent that Carseal about 30 minutes ago to everybody, and I sent it out yesterday. But you didn't get the invitations either, did you?
No.
Yeah, I sent the second version of this very same document rather to you about 30 minutes ago to everyone.
Yeah.
Is it still the Hotmail email, Carseal?
Yes. And
I'm going to try to forward you mine and see if it shows up. That way it'll be at the top of your email.
Okay. Let me double check because I've not been on my computer in the last 30 minutes or so.
Okay. I just resent it, so it should be the very first one.
Yeah. Okay, and actually, I've got the one from Dave out. Yep, I see it now because I hadn't checked the last 30 minutes or so.
No worries.
So, all right, let's see.
Let's give Carseal a minute just to glance through it. Stephen or Keith, did you have anything else you wanted to ask about or add to?
No, I looked at it for a minute, so I'm good.
Okay.
What they were just interested and no, everything was good there.
Okay.
Tell me what was additional because I'm looking at it right now.
The next to last bullet was one of the additions, just basically stating that there would be a presence at all high school home events, yeah. And if they could not be there, they would get a designee to do so. That way, they understand that's their responsibility, not the principals, to do that.
Yeah, that's good. I saw that. Yeah.
And they actually added that yesterday. And then there was another one that I changed some wording on as well. Sorry. Oh, the title, thank you. Yeah, I changed the title. The title is stated something to the effect that it was part of the extra service pay schedule, but now it's just athletic director job description. So we cleaned the title up a bit.
Oh, okay. All right.
I will tell you this just for information's sake. I got some copies of athletic director job descriptions from other folks. Primarily, I looked at Boyle counties and laid Boyle counties side by side with ours, and they're very similar. There was not anything on Boyle counties that I thought we should add to ours, or I would have sent something else out. They did get into some of the things, and I've seen these on job descriptions before, as far as how much weight you can lift, how long you can sit at the desk. I didn't add those type of things, but we don't have that in any of ours. But other than that, the basic functions of the job, the only difference was Boyle County's paying their guy 217 days as opposed to 188. And I think Somerset was doing 200 days as opposed to 188, but they were all very, very similar as to what we're looking at here.
Okay.
I did have one question just so I could have it clear in my own mind. And I like that next to the last bullet about the administrative presence. Before we had done an extra stipend, extra service pay. I don't remember exactly what we called it, for principals to also be have the ability to do that administrative presence. Are we going to continue that? And so it's kind of like they have a schedule.
We worked for the principals, and we also, if you remember, when we backed that salary off originally, we divided the jobs up. We also added some money to both assistant principals for them to have that. We cut that amount in half. Is what Ron and I said, talked about that. We cut that amount in half. We're going to put that money towards this salary here, as well as the salary from what Mr. Jewell had and the salary from what Mr. Roark had, and then that in combination with the teaching period that we were giving Andrew as well, amounted to somewhere around $28,000-$30,000 that we could apply towards this position.
Okay.
But the athletic director portion of that salary that Johnny was getting is still there intact. But we did reduce both of the assistant principals by $2,000. We left a little bit in there. We left $2,000 in there. If you remember, we went 444. But because we require them to go to a bunch of those, they will have to have their bodies in order to cover a lot of these multiple sports and such. But now that we have a full-time athletic director, they won't be needed as much. So we thought it was appropriate to cut those numbers in half.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it's 188 days enough for the other schools having 200 and over 200. Do you think that's enough to do it?
I think it will be, because we are paying our assistant principals a couple $1,000s each to chip in on that, and then you've got Steve as well. So we're going to have plenty of manpower. If it isn't, we can tweak it for next year, but I think it's going to be okay. We always try to start out at what the nominal amount and then work our way up, rather than, because it's really hard to go the other way to take money.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's a good question. I thought the same thing when I saw what they were doing, but I think with 3 principals and a full-time AD, I think we'll be able to do that. One thing that Todd and I have spoken about is that, and I didn't do it here, I will have it on the 15th board meeting. We will abolish the administrative athletic director job that Steve Jewell's in, but I would like to leave the other one open, which is the assistant one, not to fill it, and I would never fill it without talking to y'all first, but just leave it there just in case we see that we may need more than one person or more days. We may come back and try to come up with an assistant at some point in time, but just leave it open, and it could just kind of hang there in case we need it a few years down the road, or somebody else, we come along and we decide that, because we're looking at adding esports potentially and adding wrestling at some point in time in the near future. So we are kind of getting spread out just a bit, but I was going to talk to all of y'all about that on the 15th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing I would add, it follows up on what Kim said, and where we say that he or she has to have a designee at the games if they can't be there. That's just kind of the bare bones. We may have to add some meat later on outside of this, because, Kim does bring up a point. If certain people start going there often, we probably do need to pay them some for that. And at the same time, something a little different but related is, do we want to have a pool of approved designees? So he or she just can't send anybody. So, I don't know how we'll do that, but to me, that's just adding some meat to the bones that are already there. How do we pay them? How much do we pay them? And who do we want to allow to be a designee?
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. We did that at the middle school. It was always if the principal couldn't be there, it was always the assistant principal who did that. And there were times that we even we had a big game, we would call the real AD, the high school AD, come if anyone wants to be there. But we can do that. Yeah.
We have so many teams now. There are often days that we have games going on in more than one field.
Oh, yes.
Or one in the gym and one on the field or whatever. So it would be just to have some kind of idea of who he could call, or she, whomever it turns out to be. If one of the principals not available, these are people you can call. They are approved or vetted or however you want to do it. And I don't know that has to be in here. That's more of a procedure, but I think then the procedure needs to be validated with everybody that's involved so they know what they're supposed to do.
That's a great idea. And what I can do with 15, if you like, is it wouldn't really change this, as you say, but I can start talking to Steve about some folks who may be on that list, willing to do that, and put some stuff together for the 15th, and maybe you pay them by the game just to show up, and because it's very possible in the fall, especially that you could have football, volleyball, soccer, all going on at the same time, and it's a little, excuse me, cross country. A lot of those things. And one thing Steve voiced to me, and I think he was probably more in a position to do this than anybody I know, because he went to more events, administrative stuff. He probably didn't go to many events as you did, Kim, but almost as much. He went to a lot of events. But David said, one thing I think that we do need to improve on is our administrative presence at these games. He said, there are some that, fishing, for example, he goes, I think it would be cool if somebody were at the weigh-in sometime. He said, I think that the bowling, he said, I know he made it to 3 bowling matches last year driving to Danville or somewhere. And he said, really they took a team picture with him there, so he said, we need to try to do that more often. So what your all's idea is, would allow that a little more. We could rotate those whole transfers, not the same ones going to the same events. I can work on that tonight.
And knowing what to do and what they're responsible for in attendance as well.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's true. That's good. There'll be some training involved there as well. We do have our athletic trainer who is kind of on that rotational schedule. When we have 3 things going on, he will go to where he feels like he would be most likely to be needed. But then as soon as that is over, he'll go to the next event. So we can at least get some other personnel there to help.
Is there any other questions or discussion? If none, then we would need a motion to approve this.
Make a motion.
Second.
So I believe that was Keith that made the motion, and second by Stephen.
That's correct.
Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, then we'll take the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. All right, then the second item on the agenda is approving the surplus 4 football field poles with lights that we have removed from Campbell Field and donating them to the city of Corbin.
Yeah, I can explain just a real quick little bit about that. The gentlemen are here right now working on the football field, putting all of the lights up. Those are also the folks that we were going to use to move the light poles to wherever we wanted to take them. Marlon had contacted me and said, Dave, if you're not going to use those poles, we need them. I said, well, we're going to use 2 of them. We're going to keep the other 4 for parts because the fixtures are, a fairly expensive part of that. In going through this with the gentleman from Musco, he said, I don't want to tell you what to do. He said, but we're going to put these things at. He said, you're going to be better off, I believe, in his opinion, in putting LED lights on those poles instead of those old incandescent fixtures. He said the problem is going to be that those go out occasionally. So Dwayne was standing there, and Dwayne said, Dave, he goes, it really is a pain. He said, I replace 4 or 5 or 6 a year. He said that sometimes they'll go bad. They were good at the last football game. then the next year we turn them on, they're not. And another point that was brought up is that it's going to be difficult to get a big truck or whatever on the track down there to replace. You don't want to get that damage our track and replace the poles. So obviously a lot that we could put in there. Talk to him about the foot candles and the amount of brightness that we would get. We could strip all of the use our poles, strip all of the lights off, and put 2 of the new LED lights on each pole on either. And he said you'll get more light than you would out of the 8 others. They were about $2,000 a piece, and I went ahead and okayed that the other day because I felt like that was the safe thing to do and the right thing to do as far as saving money. That's, in my mind, that's when these poles became expendable for us, or became surplus, I guess is the correct word. I asked Wayne, what are we going to do with these? He said, Dave, I'm going to take them over there and store them in a lot beside my building. And my thought was that, you know, even though it's not a full function.
You're singing here. Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
Our kids that are up there on the city park.
Good, thanks.
So, that being said, I kind of thought that it would be my recommendation that if we're not going to use them, we have no need for them as spare part. They could put them up there, and even though it would be school functions to be, our kids using it 90% of the time. And the other thing was that we did cut a little deal. I did cut a little deal with the guy who's moving them. And I told Marlon, I said, Marlon, I think I can pull this off with the board. I said, I'll be glad to present it to them anyway. It's their decision. I said, but they're probably going to want, and I would like for you to drop our 2 poles off down at the track on your way to take the other 4. And so he said they would basically let the city pay the moving of our 2 poles if we give them the other 4. He and Susie both agreed that would be very fair, and they were very appreciative if that's what we choose to do.
Okay, hearing the background, are there any questions? If there are no further comments, we would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
So a motion by Carseal and a second by Stephen to approve surplus these 4 football field poles with lights and donating them to the city of Corbin. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We do have a section for open comments or comments from superintendent or board members if anyone else has anything they need to add.
Cindy says there's no comments from the public.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Cox?
I did get back from Frankfurt today. The House Bill 563 group met again today. We had our final, we kind of came up with our final recommendations as to what it would look like as far as quote unquote suggestions to send to the legislature. And I was telling Todd, and this is a good thing, and I'll keep it very brief. But as they divided this up when we got in there, and as they went around, they gave each table one of the 5 criteria areas. All the way down the line around the circle, it was basically local control. Everybody felt like that as much local control as we can have as far as how much capacity you want to utilize, what are your criteria for accepting kids, that type of thing. And the one major change that they want to make, the statute says shall have a policy to accept kids and shall accept students. They wanted to change that to may, to leave that up to the board. They said there may be some districts that don't want to accept out-of-district kids, and they think they should have that opportunity. For us, I knew that wouldn't make a great deal of difference to you all, but that may be another thing that comes down. But what I was really encouraged about when our little group met outside afterwards was that it looks like there's going to be a lot of local control in the parameters as far as how this looks. And so anyway, it was a good day.
Good. Anything else from board members?
No, I'm
Okay.
good.
All right.
Thank you
Hearing
all.
nothing, then we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So we'll give the motion to Todd and the second to Stephen. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all for going to all this trouble. I appreciate it. And
No
thank
problem at all.
He was working feverishly. I appreciate Casey. By the way, so you'll know, Casey had her son at the doctor out of town today. That's why she wasn't here.
No problem. I called her anyway. Sorry, Casey.
On fast dial or quick dial.
She didn't answer, but I called.
Thank you all.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.